All right, let's do this. What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Mike. I go by DJ Access, and today we're doing something a little bit different. I think we're just going to call it DJ Question and Answer, DJ Questions, and we're going to just do it live and see what happens, chop it up, and hopefully we get some teaching points here. I'm here with Caliph, the Game Master, who is in his first year of DJing. Got some reloop turntables, and I'll let him kind of tell you about his story a little bit. But Caliph, welcome to the show, man. I know you got some questions, and we're here to answer them. How are you today?
I'm doing great, man. You named it. Decided to get into DJing, and probably went a little overboard on what I decided to order. I got a full set of reloop, brand new reloop elite system here. And at first it was kind of daunting. Now I'm kind of, getting into it, and I'm, able to play some stuff, but there's still a lot of like features and buttons and stuff here I just really don't understand. But hey, one thing at a time, man. Other than that, I'm doing great.
Absolutely. I got you. Stay one thing at a time and just keep moving forward. Always something to learn. But we had just done a gig together. Caliph had assisted me at a wedding this past weekend, and it went great. But afterwards, he had some questions just based on what he saw from me and how he can improve his game moving forward, because wedding DJing is something that he's interested in. So the first question you had, Caliph, was you're looking around for long extended mixes. This is for dinner music and cocktail hour music, so when people aren't dancing. And you said you were looking around for long extended mixes. I'll probably find one soon, but if you know where to look or have a link on the tutorial how to make some, that would speed things up. Same as above for strings and ceremonial music. So when it comes to ceremony music, we'll just start there first because that's the first part of the wedding. There are some go-tos, especially if you're looking for the strings or piano instrumental pop remixes, which are very popular right now, at least in Ohio. Piano guys, Vitamin String Quartet, Daniel Jang, or it's spelled J-A-N-G. It might be Yang. And those three will get you through, 90% of the ceremonies if the couples aren't specific about what they want. Me personally, I always go over with my couples what they want for their ceremony music, just because if you can convince them, or if you can kind of lead them in a way to play something different than these three artists, then you're already separating yourself from other DJs in the market, because there are DJs, and rightfully so, that just use these three artists. That's what they do for every ceremony. Maybe they don't even ask their couples. But those three artists, get played a lot because they work. It's very pretty. It's kind of hit because it's like the remixes, but it's like the ceremony feel. So if you start there, piano guys, Vitamin String Quartet, Daniel Jang, and you can build that first playlist. And then if you're wanting something where you can walk away, maybe you're setting up, you're talking to the officiant, you can actually record that mix. And Caliph, I know you're in Serato, so Serato has a record feature. So you download your half hour, maybe you want to give yourself some leeway, 45 minutes, maybe even an hour. Pull up your list of ceremony tunes that you've downloaded. Maybe it's 30 of them or so. And then mix them. Could be good practice. Just kind of, in and out, making them sound, they don't have to be cool or anything, but just making them sound good in and out. And then boom, now you have your Caliph ceremony, backup. If, the couple doesn't have anything that they want, okay, cool. I put on Caliph ceremony mix. I can run around and do what I need to do with the microphones, with the officiant, whatever. So it's just about putting together, like I said, 30 songs on Spotify, transferring that over to your Serato, hitting record, making the mix, and that's the easiest way to do that. For cocktail hour music is one where you can get creative. It's not so much like ceremony music where you're going to play the same thing all the time, but there are some staples. Having a good Rat Pack mix. So maybe just going on Spotify and searching, Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Michael Bublé, all the crooners, and then just making yourself, again, a 30-song playlist, and then mixing them in Serato, hitting record, will get you through a lot of cocktail hours. Other genres that are popular for cocktail hour are alternative rock. So that's kind of stuff like Of Monsters and Men, Vance Joy, let's see. Just kind of that alternative rock area. I'm drawing blanks right now. Maybe Glass Animals would kind of fit in there as well. What else do we get requests for? Obviously, country out here in Ohio. R&B, hip-hop, like the really, really chill hip-hop. So if you want, you can just kind of go into Spotify, maybe spend a day on each one, 30-song playlist. Again, hit record, practice it in Serato, and then boom, by 10 weeks from now, you have 10 mixes, maybe 5 for the ceremony. You probably don't need 5 for the ceremony, maybe like 2 or 3 for ceremonies, and then 7 for cocktail hours, where you have exactly what you need and you can go walk away if the couple doesn't give you some direction. Or if they do say give you some direction, a lot of times what they will give you, you already will have. Or maybe you're preparing for this one, they want something different, you record that for them, and then now you have it in case another couple wants something like that. So it's just about building your library of what you want for cocktail hour music, and then kind of matching that with what the couple's looking for. Any questions on that?
Not really. You said it was was it, hold on, let me look at my notes here real quick. Was it Vitamin String Quartet?
Vitamin String Quartet. Yep, Vitamin String Quartet.
No, I think I got it.
Cool. And then for your second question, let me type it out here real quick. You were asking about must-have songs. Say for weddings. Okay. So you said, I don't listen to modern music, and you played a lot of good music I just haven't heard. Next gig, I'll bring a pad and a pen, or have my phone charged to take notes. I have a BPM membership. That's BPM Supreme, and I have been downloading more. If you happen to have the list of the following, that'd be helpful. Must-have songs, songs that always kill, and the best method for finding new stuff. I've been going through a list, but it's slow. Yes, that last point that you gave, Caliph, is right on. It is slow. Kind of realizing what are the must-have songs, the songs that will kill it, and those will be different for every DJ. We all have different markets, all have different clients. So, and then we all have different styles of, like, there are songs that always kill, but there's, more than you can even play at a wedding, in my opinion, especially for some crowds. And the must-have songs, that's going to differ from DJ to DJ. But a lot of this can be solved with Google, but not in just one fell swoop. So you want to Google maybe like top 100, top 200 wedding songs, top 100 cocktail hour songs, top 100 ceremony songs, whatever you're looking for. But look through multiple lists. A lot of people have opinions on this, and I wouldn't just copy the list verbatim or have like a DJ send you, their folder for what it is. But it's a matter of just looking through lists on Spotify, Apple Music, whatever it is, and then saying like, oh yeah, that fits my style for what I want to do for the dance floor. Because like, Can We Talk by Tevin Campbell is going to be a must-have or a must-play, or song that always kills for, well, I guess not always kills, but for some crowds that's a must-have song, and another crowd it's really not. They may not even heard it before. So you're just gonna, those must-have songs are gonna happen as you listen to more DJs, and as you DJ more, you're gonna realize, wow, this song does work every time for XYZ crowd, for ABC crowd. And a BPM Supreme membership is great. DMS is one that I recommend if you're trying to really build like the old school, but I love BPM Supreme's layout. I think they did a nice job with their UI. I'm not a huge fan of their remixes. DMS has probably been my long term, and then my new favorite is Headliner Music Club. But each record pool is like stores, right? So each record pool kind of has something that they do well. So it's just a matter of, maybe you spend 3 months on one, see what you like, download their little catalog, 3 months on another, download their catalog, and so on and so forth, till you find one or two that you stick with. For wedding DJs, you probably only need one. For club DJs, you're probably going to want to have multiple ones, so you're not playing the same remixes all the time. So again, like you said, it's you're going through the list, but it's slow. It is slow. You'll keep adding songs to that list. So maybe even have like a must-have or a song that always kill folder that you can always revisit if something's not going right, or you're kind of stuck. Any questions about that?
Not really. I mean, my methodology has changed since we last spoke, and since I, typed up these questions.
Okay.
BPM Supreme does have a lot of kind of curated playlists, if you will.
There you go.
And I've just been kind of letting them play as I'm about the house, especially like working from home. If I'm not on a meeting or on a call or anything, I'll just let it play. And if something's got me bopping my head and catching my eye, I'll turn around, kind of see who it is, download it, add it to my catalog. And so I've also kind of searched, through my recollection, because a lot of stuff you played the other night, because I thought you had a really good set.
Thank you.
And, that helped. Unfortunately, I had a hard drive full of music crash this week.
Jeez.
So I've got to rebuild a lot of it. I kind of had some in two places. Some was locally on the hard drive and some was on an extended hard drive. But I've tried many different ways to access it and I can't get in. My next step is to take it apart and see if it's something wrong with the housing and that I could put the drive into something else. But that's another conversation.
Yeah, man. Good luck with that for sure.
There was another thing I wanted to mention. Yeah, you're right. And when I asked that question, we are kind of in the same market. So I was being market specific. But yeah, it is going to be, I am learning quickly that it's like any other thing. It's got to be stuff I want to play, stuff that I'm going to be into, and stuff that I've talked about with the client kind of ahead of time. Hey, this is kind of what I play. You know, obviously, if they have requests, getting those in and ahead of time, which does bring about another question. How do you handle requests on site if you don't have the song? Are you like, you know, using a hotspot for your phone and ripping it online real quick? Or are you just saying, sorry, I don't have it? Or
sure, every DJ is going to have, you know, an opinion on this. So some DJs like me like requests, and then other DJs, you know, hate them, and we've always seen those memes. So what was I gonna say? Handling requests. I think that if you're trying to take all requests and you have Wi-Fi, yeah, using a service like Tidal, like Spotify, and running it through your mixer. So let's say you have like a MacBook Pro, you can click on the sound and then say, I want to use my Range 72, my Pioneer, my whatever mixer that I have as my output, run Spotify, and then boom, you have a song. If you want to get it into your Serato, you can use Tidal, and that marriage has been going on. I think BeatSource has something that they're doing. I have not tested that out yet. So if you have Wi-Fi, yes, very easy to take pretty much any and all requests that you feel like playing. Just, you know, be mindful of explicit and clean versions. Sometimes they're not labeled as well, especially Tidal. Spotify's doing a better job. But sometimes Spotify doesn't even have the clean version, so there you'll probably have to lean on BPM Supreme, download it there, and get it into Serato. If you don't have internet for whatever reason, yeah, you can refuse requests, obviously, and just kind of blame the fact that you don't have a hotspot. People usually understand because their phone won't be doing anything either. And then I think that's pretty much it. Handling requests is you know, DJ to DJ. I would say whatever you do, treat all requests with respect. Even if you don't take requests, you know, find a nice way to refuse requests, because ultimately that's going to be reflective of your brand and determine whether, you know, someone else books you or not. Cool.
yes, sir.
And then let's see, third question. You said about beat syncing, beat matching, and BPM range changes. So we'll call this beat matching. Different tempos. Okay. Beat matching different temp. Oh wow, embarrassing.
What's
Spelt
that?
different wrong.
Wow.
Bam, we caught it though. All right. One more look through. Okay, perfect. Beat matching different tempos. So in Serato, let me just start like this. To beat match, there's you can use any tool you want. Any DJ that tells you different, they're a hater, and they need to grow up. But you can beat match however you want. Obviously, number one is by ear. That's going to give you your most accurate, whether you're using headphones or a monitor. That's what it sounds like, right? So using that as your baseline of what sounds good is probably a great start. However, there are other tools that can help you out. So you can use matching up the beat grids on Serato. Serato also has a feature. It's turned off by default in settings, but there's like a tempo matcher that goes above the beat grid, and that'll, you know, kind of help you with the BPM sliders. I think I showed you that on Saturday. And again, that's in the Serato settings. Check out the video that I did on Serato settings if you don't know where that is. So you can do it by your ear, you can do it visually, and then you mentioned also using the sync button. Well, there's nothing wrong using the sync button. The only thing that I will say is make sure that you prepare your library beforehand, because the sync button will work 95% of the time. However, there are some tracks that have different BPM ranges or maybe the analyzer doesn't get it correct. And if you're in a jam and you hit that sync button, you don't check, you could have a mistake. So that's why a lot of DJs who, they're not sync button haters, but they're still not using the sync button. That's at least I'm in that boat. So I would say that's my reservation is, I'm gonna get 99% of my mixes right if I use ear and visually, and then sync button, using the sync button, I'll only probably get 95%. So it makes more sense for me. Now, if you're a DJ where 99% of your synced mixes are correct, then yeah, use that, no problem. Just make it sound good. And I would say dabble in all three tools. You never know what you're gonna like. And then just if like, let's say you don't have a monitor, you don't have your headphones for whatever reason, knowing how to match visually is going to be helpful for you. And then let's say the sync button isn't working, or it doesn't work on that track, having your ear to back you up is going to be good as well. So dabble in all tools is my opinion, and see which ones work best for you as far as beat matching. And then for big BPM range changes, there's probably a lot of videos on YouTube talking about this. I see that topic a lot. For me, I think if you can count and find the one, no matter what BPM you're at, if you do like a slow fade and then hit on the one and just match up the ones, even if one's super fast and one's super slow, that's usually a great way to transition through BPMs. Other ways, get on the microphone. Let's say the song you're about to drop is a high energy song, and if you say, yo, everyone put your hands in the air, even something as simple like that, and people go, the music's off, and then you drop something, they might go, oh, because you focused everybody up on you by cutting the music, and then now there's no tempo, right? So if you want to hit it in time, but that you have a bigger gap where you I shouldn't say, you have a bigger target as to where you can drop it and still sound good. So dropping the music, getting on the mic and dropping a banger, as Nick Spinelli would say, it is a great way to transition between BPM tempos. You can use transition tracks. I'm sure BPM Supreme has some where, the track starts 128, it does some little clap, and it slowly goes down until it's at 170, whatever it needs to be for you to mix in. So there are transition tracks. What else can you do? You can use the vinyl break. So I know you're using the reloops. If you are playing the Serato's tone and then you turn off your reloop, not with the play button, but with like the actual turn off the turntable, it'll do this wind down. And then you hit play, and then boom, you've moved tempos again. So there's a number of different ways to do it. That's just a few. It's just a matter of, setting up decks, choosing songs that are off tempo and recording yourself so that you can get it right, and then you're getting it right and it sounds right.
Yeah, definitely. I've gotten better at it this week, even. Mm-hmm. One thing I will say is that the reason why I started using the sync button, and I've heard mixed reviews on it, is I feel like my BPM range floats just a little bit. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of annoying, especially if I know I've got a cue point coming up where I like to mix in this next song and someone's talking to me or asking for a request or, hey, can you turn it up or can you turn it down or whatever. And now my BPM's floating a little bit, by a decimal, which a lot of times doesn't matter much. And yes, you can just kind of, press the record forward or slightly slow the record down. You got to be careful with that. But I just don't want to be constantly hovering over my sliders the entire night. Okay. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that's fine. I would say that maybe as a beginner mixer, these long extended mixes, unless you're doing like house music, probably don't make sense. If you want to practice that or that's your style, that's fine. But that's not how I would teach a beginner DJ to do beat matching. I'd teach them pretty quickly. Pull up a song like In the Club by 50 Cent, where it actually starts off time and you have to time it to get the ones to hit at the right time. Those quick kind of mixes where you're kind of moving the fader over, moving the up fader and just hitting the button are probably a lot easier. Maybe 4-bar or 8-bar mixes. But like the idea of like a beginner DJ starting a mix, talking to someone for a minute and then coming back, it doesn't make much sense to me. But obviously it could happen, and maybe you want to practice that. But shorter, you want to start with pretty quick mixes, not quick in that like you're cutting the song off early, but quick in that the songs don't overlap for very long. And then as you get comfortable with that, then you should be moving. Okay, now they're overlapping for a little bit longer. Now you're playing techno with 64 bars or even longer, 5-minute mixes or whatever it is. So maybe start there. And then as far as doing what you need to do to keep the stuff in time, that just comes with time again. You'll start to figure out how to use those tools that we talked about on how to beat match. Even if the sync button's the one that works for you best, cool. You have to touch it less. But I do know it is weird on turntables because it can feel like it floats a little bit more. But as time goes, you'll start to figure out how to place your thumb in your hand to kind of keep them in time. And to a lot of DJs, that's kind of the fun of it is babysitting the record and kind of keeping the mix. But again, as a beginner, start really short, maybe then move up to 2-bar mix or 1-bar mixes, 2-bar, 4-bar, and then however long you actually want to do. Because you'll do that'll help you a lot more more quickly. The short mixes make sense for a lot more songs than the long mixes do, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I started out, because I'm brand new at this. The method just kind of birthed itself, me sitting here playing around. And what I started doing was downloading extended mixes from BPM, which is usually like an extended intro.
Yes.
So it according to you, I'm learning the hard way. And I did do my nephew's graduation party, and it wasn't like a big party. It was kind of like background noise so that everybody can talk and congratulate and so on and so forth.
Sure.
But I did have people come up to me saying, "Dang, your mixes are really good." And they were really good, but they were really long. And I would I sat at home and I'd practice, and I'd say, "No, I really don't like that song here or there." And I had some really long mixes that went really well for several hours. But like I said, I felt like I was constantly hovering over the slider, and it was because I was trying to do those long matches. Sometimes I'd have to just kind of flick the slider a little bit to get that decimal right on. You know what I mean? And I'm like, boy, for hours, that's annoying, especially if you don't really get to enjoy the party, because I want to be energetic and interacting with the crowd somewhat. I don't want to be spamming the mic, but I want to interact with the crowd some. And if I'm constantly hovering over my sliders, that kind of makes that tough and less enjoyable for me. But I think also, like you said, I think that's going to change with comfort, coming up with those shorter mixes. Leaving last night, I was sitting here practicing, and I'm like, okay, let's not just fade music in and out and play with the bass faders all day. Let's, backspin out, or let's, wind down in and out. So I was working on some of that stuff last night. It takes more practice, but it's getting better. And I want to have that variety. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so. It's like DJing's a lot like speaking a language, right? So there's you just learn different words, you learn different sentence structures, and those are mixes, right? So the more different ways that you can present your mixes, or like the higher your vocabulary is, the more you can do, the more you can kind of expand the art form. So what I'm trying to say here, just keep, like you're saying, just try a bunch, listen to other DJs. Oh, he did something now I haven't seen before. Try and replicate it, and then put your own little spin on it. So
yeah, I've been YouTubing and watching DJs like crazy. I want to say something real quick. I was watching a video on the Beat Sync tool and Serato earlier this week, and like I said, so many mixed feelings about it, and I get it, but at the same time, I'm here to deliver a good service. I'm looking from a mobile DJ, wedding DJ perspective, and the enjoyment of the craft. But this video was kind of talking over my head when they were talking about moving the beat grid.
Yes.
And I started kind of playing with it a little bit, but I didn't do it too much because I don't want to like alter songs and have to go through re-downloading and all that. So I'm just going to watch a few more videos on it, but I have been going down that path, and it just kind of became more and more and more. I'm like, all right, enough for tonight. It was late at night. So.
Yeah. And that's kind of where approaching it backwards kind of hurts you a little bit, because, or not approaching it backwards, but where using the sync button. Remember that caveat I was saying? You got to make sure that your tracks are all kind of neat and tidy, and that's kind of the the pushing the record back and forth and making sure like that's kind of the, instead of doing all of that stuff while you're mixing, you got to do all the pre-work to make sure your tracks are done the right way, to understand how the beat grid works and how to edit it on the fly. So if you are going to do the sync button kind of method, and that could be your primary source of mixing, then you have to do the homework and make sure you're analyzing the tracks ahead of time. You know, as you pull it up, you know, okay, if I hit, I think it's Alt Shift, that's going to give me my left deck beat grid. And if I hit X, that's going to set my left beat point. And if I use these other controls, now I can shift it or make it longer or shorter before you play the next song, right? You have to get really good at that, really fast at that, because you don't want the song to run out while you're trying to fix your beat grid so that you can, you know, use the sync button. It may get to a point where you're gonna be like, okay, I got to do this one by ear, and then hopefully you have that in your bag, or I can do it, you know, with my ear and my eyes, and then hopefully you have in that bag so you can get the nice smooth transition, and then try it again. Does that make sense?
Right, and I also, I'm getting the sense that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm just practicing, you know, in the evenings. I get the sense that if I do use the beat sync, and I'm generally, if I'm using sync, I'm generally syncing tracks that are relatively close together in BPM anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm getting the sense that until I get to that pre-work point, get all that done, I'm getting the sense that if I hit sync, I can then mix and use the slider from there. And it results in, yes, I'm using my slide. I'm still hovering over my slider some, but it's a lot less often. It's a lot more bearable, if that makes sense.
Honestly, I'm not exactly the slider should do anything. If you're in sync mode, at least the way I understand it, if you're in sync mode and you touch one of the sliders, it shouldn't do anything, because what you're doing by syncing is you're telling Serato, when I touch one of these sliders, whatever I do to this slider, do to the other slider.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
So I think only like you kind of nudging the record should do anything. So it could be a placebo effect where, you know, you're messing with the slider, but it's just kind of doing its own thing. So
maybe I wasn't. Maybe I was just pushing the record, my recollections off.
Yep. And then, like I said, it's a matter of playing around and really understanding, okay, this is how the beat grid works. This is how the sync button works. And then using that knowledge in your mixes. But we are running out of time, so you had one last question I want to hit here. So let me type it out. You said, how many mics do I recommend for weddings? And again, this is going to come down to the DJ. If you ask Nick Spinelli, who I have a lot of respect for, make sure you check out his channel. He recommends 2 mics because the way he likes to deliver, well, you get a built-in backup, right? You always have a backup mic. Me, even as a single mic user, I still have a backup wired mic if I need it. But having a system that has 2 dual wireless microphones can work, or does work a lot, because you get that backup just kind of built into the system. And then if you are using a 2 mic system, kind of the benefit is if I say, okay, this person's talking next, that person goes to talk. They already hopefully are standing where they need to stand, doing what they need to do, holding the mic the way they need to, because you've prepped them. But that transition from me to them is done without passing the microphone. Me personally, I kind of like the extra touch of passing the microphone, and it gives me a little more control, because if the microphone's in my hands, I can stand where, and you saw me do this on Saturday, I stand, like I do my introduction, kind of do like a little sidestep to where they need to stand to look good on video and on the camera, and then I shake their hand, pass them the mic. It makes for a nice little moment. Sometimes photographers like that, sometimes the fan members like that. Sometimes it's nice for the person who's coming up to get the mic, because you can kind of shake their hand, wish them luck, give them a pat on the back, and, you know, for some, maybe a small percentage of people, that's what gets them through the speech. Speeches are very hard for some people, so I just like having that last bit of control, even to maybe give them a little reminder, like, all right, you're all set, best of luck, just make sure you hold it up like this. And then you kind of point to where they're supposed to stand, they stand there, and then they deliver their speech, and it all looks and sounds good. So I like that for one, but I totally understand anyone who wants to get the dual mic setup and just be like, and now please give a nice round of applause for our next speaker. Boom, and then they're already there. They just put the mic up and do their thing. So it works both ways. And you just kind of have to see other DJs do it or record yourself doing it multiple ways. If you want to make that investment to have to, and then seeing what you like better, but both work.
And so I saw you had the handheld. Absolutely have a backup wired mic. Why would you not? I've already got it in my head that I'm going to make like a backup bag or a backup box with just like extra batteries and extra mic. I might even throw a few vinyl records in there if something goes wrong with my phase, things like that. But anyhow, the lapel mic, was that yours?
Yes.
So technically you do have two mics. Maybe they're running on a different system, but you have the lapel mic in the hand.
I bring 4 mics. So I bring my main handheld. That's what I use for the reception once the ceremony's done. And then I have 2 lapel systems. One that's built into my speaker. It's a battery-powered Anchor audio speaker. I'll probably do a video on that here soon. But one of the lapels is patched into that speaker, and then I also have a handheld that's linked to that speaker. And then I also have a lapel mic that's just separate, so I can use to do speakers wirelessly. I don't think I had to do that when you were with me, but I can use sound from my main system and then wirelessly transmit it through the lapel mic system to the other speaker, so that I have the same thing running on 2 different speakers. Or I can just attach a lapel to it. Now I have a really nice lapel mic in addition to the one that's already attached to my speaker. So at a ceremony, I could potentially have 2 people lapel mic'd up, as well as a third person who has a handheld who can, they can pass whatever it is. So again, like you were saying, having backups is a great idea. Jason Janai just did a video, and if you guys don't know who Jason Janai is, he's probably like the wedding DJ leader, I think, right now, as far as who people look up to in the industry. But that's actually all of our time. Caliph, I just want to thank you so much for having me. I imagine we'll probably have you back here with more questions. And these were great ones, man. So I think I'm seeing you this Saturday again. Bring your notes, bring your Shazam, so we can start getting you on the must plays, and keep asking great questions. More DJs need to be like you, man, where they're not afraid to ask questions, whether it's in the comments below or to your mentors. Just kind of do it at a time where it's it's respectful. You don't want to be asking a bunch of questions while this person's working. If they're at the club already working, probably not the time. See if you can invite them out to lunch, or do a Zoom call like this and get the word out, get the advice that you need to be a great DJ. So Caliph, enjoy the rest of your evening, man, and I will talk to you soon.
All right, appreciate it, Mike. Have a good one.
You too. Peace, man.